Climbing on the statue of Winston Churchill in Parliament Square will soon be against the law. The government is adding the 12-foot bronze figure to a list of monuments that will be illegal to climb. Offenders could face up to 3 months in prison and a £1,000 fine. And Surrey's first Gurdwara has officially opened in Camberley. £1.5 million was raised to transform a former military base into a place of Sikh worship. OK, let's turn to the 80th anniversary of victory in Europe during the Second World War. Well, tomorrow, on VE Day itself, Westminster Abbey will be hosting a special service of thanksgiving and commemoration. More than 70 veterans are expected to attend, alongside members of the royal family. Preparations have been underway, and Anna O'Neill has been meeting some of the young choristers involved on what will be an historic day.
The choristers of Westminster Abbey Choir School are used to the pomp and ceremony of Abbey life. They sing for 8 choral services a week during term time, and many of them have sung for the most important ceremonial events in the country.
I've sung for the Commonwealth and the Royal Carol service, and Princess Catherine was at the Royal Carols and the King was at the Commonwealth, and it was really good and I enjoyed it.
I'm so excited when I see so many people coming to celebrate an occasion in this church. I think VE Day is especially important in this country, as it marks the end of the war and what people did and sacrificed their lives so we could live in peace today.
It's such a big opportunity that you're so grateful for and you'll never get it again. So you feel excited and then you'll just remember it for all your years later.
The Master of Choristers joined 2 years ago, just in time for the King's coronation, and he knows how important it is at times like this to keep calm and carry on under pressure.
My job is to make them feel it's easy. If I prepare them well, then they don't have to get nervous. If I don't tell them that this music is difficult, they won't think it's difficult. And that's a wonderful thing for them to be able to just take these great occasions in their stride. You know, we have quite a lot of television services with the most senior royals here, and that's just another day for us.
With thousands of visitors per day, the normal life of the Abbey goes on while the VE Day preparations take place. Just over 1,000 people will be here celebrating VE Day in Westminster Abbey tomorrow. But in 1945, there were lots of different services throughout the day between 9 a.m. and 10, and 25,000 people came in to celebrate here. So where are we now, Matthew?
So this is the library of Westminster Abbey, a 16th century library in what was the monks' dormitory. So a medieval space converted into a library in the late 16th century.
Gosh. Wow. Among the hundreds of books in the Abbey Library, this is the order of service for the 8th of May 1945. The war had ended. There must have been this sense of jubilation, of relief, of happiness, and a kind of real need to go somewhere and express that. And this would have been the place.
Yeah, it certainly seems to have been there. They were queuing around the block to get in. And every service, 14 through the day, were full.
Yeah, like you take a shot and it bumps and then it just goes the other way.
Oh, yeah.
If the choristers are nervous about tomorrow, you'd never know it. What would you say to anybody looking at you boys and thinking, could I do that?
I would just say go for it. If you really want to do it, you can come and audition and have a go with Mr. Nettinger. You don't have to have any prior musical knowledge. Before I came here, I didn't know a thing about music. Couldn't tell the difference between a C sharp and an A, and now I'm singing in one of the best churches in the world. And the football's really great as well.
Anna O'Neill, BBC London.
A beautiful look behind the scenes at Westminster Abbey. Well, all this week, VE Day events have been taking place across the capital. Asad is on the South Bank for us this evening, where there's a special table that's been laid.
Yeah, this table is laid out like so many were up and down the country for the VE Day celebrations 80 years ago, tomorrow to celebrate the end of the war in Europe. But 8 years ago tonight, almost to the hour, at 7:45, there was the announcement that the first VE Day would take place the next day. It was made at 7:45 by BBC Home Service. John Snagg was the man who made it. Take a listen to this historic, memorable announcement.
We're interrupting programmes to make the following announcement. It is understood that in accordance with arrangements between the three great powers, an official announcement will be broadcast by the Prime Minister at 3 o'clock tomorrow, the 8th of May. Tomorrow, Tuesday, will be treated as Victory in Europe Day and will be regarded as a holiday.
Yes, such a historic announcement, that one. Now let me tell you a bit more about this very special table we've got in front of me, because each plate has got a face on. Simon Pearce, you know all about this. You've helped to arrange all this. Now, looking at these plates, I know each one has a story. I'm looking at this one because it's got an old lady with a dog.
That's right, it's Queenie with her owner, Mrs. Marshall, who was trapped in her house during the Blitz when our house in Paddington was hit, and Queenie helped to pull her out of the rubble. It's incredible.
And every plate has a very different story. They're not just soldiers, they're normal people doing their bit. Like this one, this is a young lad. What's the story?
Men and women up and down the country just doing their bit. And of course, there's a 15-year-old David Kirban, who was a scout, an evacuee from London who was in North Wales and helped to pull out a pilot from burning wreckage who had crashed in a field. So again, just these amazing, ordinary people just doing their bit.
And on a personal level, your great-grandfather is on one of the plates.
That's right, Harry, my great-grandfather, who was stationed out in India with the Royal Engineers right on the border of Burma, away from his family for 3.5 years, didn't see his son, my grandfather, 3.5 years. There were people like him making sacrifices like that throughout the war, and I think it's really important that we remember these hidden heroes and the sacrifices they made. I think what
I've noticed reading about these plates over here is that everyone's a hero in their own right. They're not just people on the front line.
Absolutely, it's people on the home front, from fire wardens, air raid wardens, ambulance drivers, literally doing their bit and helping to achieve victory in Europe in May 1945.
And victory was achieved. Simon Pearce, thanks very much. Well, there are events taking place all of tomorrow in Mitcham, in Brixton, all over. You can see them on ve80.com. But now back to you, Riz.
Let's return to the 80th anniversary of VE Day. The week-long commemorations have been remembering those who gave their lives for their country. Today, along the South Bank, some of the lesser-known war heroes were being celebrated. Graham Stothard went along.
Across the river from Westminster, a building synonymous with democracy, a VE Day table set for those who helped protect it. 80 places remembering 80 hidden heroes. Among them the trailblazing George Arthur Roberts. Born in Trinidad, a First World War veteran who in the Second World War became the first black man to join the London Auxiliary Fire Service. A life so extraordinary, even his family found it hard to believe.
I wasn't sure any of it was true and just thought it was kind of a family myth that had grown like a Chinese whisper. And it turned out that the truth was actually even more amazing.
His was brave, brutal work. He and his comrades among the first responders to carnage caused during the Blitz.
There, like a flash, the regular firemen and the AFS have rushed to the rescue.
He would have been quite animated about the threat from Hitler and sent both his sons to fight in World War II as well. Both of them were prisoners of war. In all honesty, that defence of the empire and of British values would have been important to him.
At the weekend, commemorations were held for the 80th anniversary of VE Day, including a military flypast, to the delight of the royals and the jubilant crowd below.
Planes in the sky in the war years would have had a very different reaction. Hopefully, of course, preceded by an air raid siren. It would have sent the public scrambling for cover and soldiers to the air defences.
In these circumstances, early warnings were vital, and thanks to people such as Gladys Eva, interpreting radar data. For a long time, though, her medal-winning war record went untold.
She kept it a secret for the most part of her life. She had always told us that she was a driver during the war. She was incredible. The role that she played was so important, helping the RAF understand the movements in the sky, understanding and determining all the information that came over, and just couldn't be more proud of her.
These are stories that, may not make it into the history books, but just everyday people that were doing their bit during the Second World War, from children to adults, men and women in the forces or on the home front, helping to achieve victory.
80 years on, it remains as important as ever to remember the wartime sacrifices made and discover those not yet recognised. Graham Stothard, ITV News.